We've taken Alpha.
Okay, so if I've had about 50 people at this point tell me that the reason why the XM21 suppressed fires so slowly is because of the subsonic ammo, if I hear one more person tell me that, I'm probably gonna have a mental breakdown. I just wanted to say that I acknowledge it. It has been received. My brain has stored it into long-term memory for future reference. Okay, just putting it out there. But in today's video, I want to talk about what I think is the worst gun in the game. Now, obviously, this is subjective. I don't know the correct word. It's when like one person's opinion can vary to the other, I believe. But basically, this is just my opinion. Because I mean, sure, you could just grab a revolver or any pistol for that matter and say that, you know, it sucks compared to like M1 Garand or an M14 or any primary weapon. But that's a stupid comparison. And obviously, each weapon excels at their own thing. Like you can't compare a shotgun to a sniper rifle. Well, technically you can, but let's stay serious. But personally, I think the XM21 suppressed is the worst gun in the game. Now, I know some of you might say that, oh no, it's situational and actually pretty good. But come on, what gun is actually worse than this that is a primary weapon? Like, I'm not going to be a smartass. I actually want you guys to tell me which gun do you think is the worst gun in Rising Storm 2 Vietnam? And you know what? Whichever gun gets the most likes in this video, I might make a video on it. But first off, I want to talk about the stats of this weapon. It gets a 6 for power, which I strongly disagree with because this gun is basically a certified airsoft gun. Fucking Corey from Tac Toys is promoting it for me. 2 for recoil, which, you know, is good. I can agree with. There isn't a whole lot of recoil for this gun. This gun does not have, you know, a whole lot of recoil. It gets a 9 for accuracy. It's so hard to actually aim and correctly hit a target. Like, I understand accuracy is like how fucking accurate it is. It's in the name, but I mean, it's actually hard trying to hit a lot of, you know, targets in certain scenarios. It gets a 4 for range, which I disagree with. That is basically a sniper's 1. But, you know, basically this gun is a suppressed M14 that fires subsonic ammo, and you also need a bolt each shot, which honestly I don't know the proper term. It says bolt action in the fucking game, but you need to pull this thing back so a new bullet goes in every time, so it significantly reduces your rate of fire compared to the non-suppressed version. Now, you know, I want to start off by talking about all the good things about this weapon. The first being that the suppressed makes the gun much harder to identify until you get really close, not really close, but relatively close to the target. And yet again, I found it sort of hard to pinpoint the exact location where they were coming from. In addition to this, obviously with the suppressor, there is no muzzle flash, so if you play on a night map, you're basically invisible, you can't be heard, and you can really post up somewhere like in a tree or in a bunker or anywhere. And let's be honest, the only night map that we're going to be playing on is Long Tan. But you know, usually what I do on this map is if I see flashes in the trees, I just blind fire it, and usually I get a kill. It's so much easier to actually identify where a bullet is coming from. So, you know, based off this is, you know, like, let's be honest, this is the stealthiest weapon in RS2. If you want to pretend, you know, that you're some special forces guy and want to hit the flanks and pick off VC from a distance or a medium to long range distance, like not too long of a range, then you know what, this gun does deliver on that aspect. But you know, now for the bad things, right, about this weapon. The sound, while it is quiet, it is easily recognizable. You hear one of these things firing near you, okay, two things can happen. One, you know that it's a suppressed XM version because no other gun sounds even relatively close to it. And the person has to be within close proximity. And 2, most of the time it'll be a GI using this weapon because I very rarely see, I don't think I've ever seen a VC actually pick up this weapon. If so, it is so rare that it's like they pick it up, realize it sucks and drops it. So most of the time it is the GIs using this weapon. But you know, the biggest problem with this weapon, and this is in my opinion, but it has to be the amount of leading that you have to do. I've used this weapon a fair bit and I still find it hard getting used to. Even when there is like a stationary target, there is so much shell travel that it's ridiculous. To be exact, it's 330 meters per second, which is like half of the non-suppressed version. And for comparison, the MAP 49 has around the same shell velocity. So imagine using this weapon as a sniper rifle, basically. I mean, that's a little bit ridiculous because legit, if we do the math right now, feel free to, I can't pronounce anything with F. It's so hard to pronounce for me. But let's say, right, you know, you got a suppressed version, you fire at a target that is 200 meters away. Now, if we do the maths, right, this will take about 0.6 seconds to travel 200 meters. For comparison, the non-suppressed version is 765 meters a second, which is the same as the M14. That takes about 0.26 of a second for the shell to travel the same distance, which, mind you, this is a sniper rifle. But you know, I find that when the bullet gets near the target, it just slows down so much that it just like dinks the enemy, and it can get one shots, but it's like I don't expect it to one shot majority of the time. And you know, if you're firing at a significant range, there is a chance that the bullet will land like right in front of the target. And also, right, the person that I'm firing at is that sometimes they might move out of the way by the time that I fire, and it will like hit a non-critical area, and they'll be able to like run away because I have to bolt the freaking new bullet, and then they've like moved or adjusted themselves behind cover. Whereas, you know, I could have just like instantly laser beamed the enemy if I used the non-suppressed version. So, you know, truth is, this isn't an easy gun to use. If you find yourself on a day map, please, just for the love of God, just use the standard version. You can't go wrong with it because everyone's firing, and is that little bit of concealment on a day map really going to matter? Sure, you know, it might give you an advantage, but is that advantage, especially on a day map, worth the struggle that you're gonna have to deal with in hitting a target at range? Because, you know, let's paint a scenario, okay? So let's say, you know, you use the suppressed version on a day map. You're firing at someone 200 meters away. You're missing almost every single shot, and then you get killed, okay? But let's say you use the non-suppressed version. You might get a couple of kills, right? And then someone kills you. I mean, which one would, like, it's obviously easier to get kills with the non-suppressed version, so it's like, it just makes sense to use that. Because also the suppressed version it has a steep learning curve, and obviously if you're very rarely playing the sniper class, I mean, don't, you know, waste your time trying to get to learn this gun. The only time that I can recommend using this gun is on Long 10 or any night map, right? Because this is where you can actually use the advantages of this weapon, such as the no muzzle flash and the suppression and whatnot, to the best of its abilities. And also on Long 10, you know, it's not a ridiculously long map, and you're not going to be hitting targets at ridiculous distances. Like, you're going to be hitting targets like at least around 100 meters, which is very manageable for this weapon. And you know what I tend to do is I tend to just climb up trees and I hide up there, and I'm practically invisible until a target gets really, really close. But I mean, you know, if I'm using the non-suppressed version, I do stand out a lot when I'm up in this tree position. And you know, that is the one time that I can actually recommend using the suppressed version over the non-suppressed version. But you know, in the end of the day, whatever gun you do better in is the better gun for your team. But you know, another thing, right, that I should mention is that I got frustrated trying to snipe this weapon, right? So I said screw it, and I decided to just run around practically quick scoping the enemy. You know, I found that it was humiliating being killed by this gun. Like, sure, it's already humiliating getting high-hoed, but to have someone running around with a suppressed XM21, the worst gun in the game, wiping out a bunch of people, that is just humiliating, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Now, I'm going to be doing a sniper rifle tier list in the coming near future, and I don't play snipers a whole lot, which is why at the moment I'm trying to exclusively use them and get good with them. But you know, obviously, you know, this is going to be in the lowest tier, F tier or E tier. I don't know how I'm going to structure it. And you know, since I'm a nice guy, I will bump it up or second last tier on Long 10. Anyways, I'm going to end today's video there. I hope you guys did enjoy it, because if you did, please do consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing the video with your friends. Anyways, my name is Tan2, and I will catch you guys in the next video.